inclusivity cannot be realized in budget process without involving the majority. And the majority of our population, we are aware, the youth form 75% of our population. I mean the young people below the age of 35 form 75% of our population. And I'm told that the youth in that bracket is about 60-65. That is from 18 years to 35 years. And that is a demographic team that we must always engage. And I thought it was important that we get the voices of this segment of our population, that their voices are heard, their voices are included in our budget process. Hence, the need to form such a forum. So why national students? Majority of the people in that age bracket of 18 and 35 are still students. And therefore, the best formal grouping that would help us to appreciate this segment of our population in terms of their needs and in terms of how best we can budget for them is the group of students. And therefore, today the students' leaders have expressed to me that they are ready to present their report to us. And that is why I invited the media report from the students that you also witness and hear from this generation on what exactly they would want us to do for them in terms of budget making. So, before I invite the student leaders to make remarks, I'm sure they have organized themselves. There's one or two of them who will make quick remarks. Then after that, I will respond. The presentation will be about the overall or the summary or the bigger picture, a view about what is in the report. So once they speak to it, then I will comment. Then after that, we'll take questions. After taking questions, then the report will be officially handed over to me. But I want to report at this stage that this is just the beginning of this engagement. I made a promise on 10th of December that we are going to have regional engagements with the students across the country. And we are going to work around the 8 regions as they were known, starting with Nairobi, which we have already done. Then we'll move to other 7 regions across the country so that we can listen and hear our young people. So once you make your remarks, the student leadership, then I will respond to those remarks, and there are a few things that I will say, including giving assurance on how this is going to inform our 2026-2027 budget. I want to end it there and now invite the student leaders. I don't know who you are, yeah? So you will now take charge. Maybe we give you how many minutes between you and your team? So we give you 6 to 8 minutes. Is that okay? Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you.
You want me to move?
No.
Yeah. No, we could move a bit. You know, moving the mics.
Thank you. Allow me start by introduction. My name is Ougo Sam. I'm a member of the National Students Budget Forum Committee, actually the Secretary General. With me is a team of 5, representation of universities across Kenya. So I will just allow them in a minute to introduce themselves, starting from the left.
Okay, my good name is Alo Joel. I'm the National Coordinator, National Student Budget Forum.
My name is Quinta Owino, the Vice Chair.
Thank you.
Solomon, the Chairman.
Thank you. Allow me start from a point of reiteration from where the Cabinet Secretary has left. On 10th of December 2025, the Cabinet Secretary Honorable John Mbadi, met students across universities, if I'm not wrong, about 160. These students cut across all the regions in the country. We came together to launch this forum that is going to be very, very influential in the next financial year. Today, friends, marks a historic milestone in Kenya's fiscal journey, the launch of the National Students Budget Forum. It is a declaration that the voices of young people matter in not shaping tomorrow, but today of our nation. As we all know, it is the first time since independence that the Ministry of Finance is actually implementing Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya. That is public participation. And it's not just happening in boardrooms. As CS has said, we are going to traverse all the former regions of this country to explain not only to the youth, but also to the students that which involves fiscal planning, so that their input can directly be heard, and when the implementation stage comes, we can actually see their voices in the next budget. We pledge to educate, engage constructively, and provide evidence-based insights, because the goal is to ensure that the next budget reflects the aspirations of Kenya's largest demographic, that is the youth. Therefore, it is our commitment that we are going to bridge the gap between the energetic and the old, so that we can achieve the last revolution, that is the economic revolution. Allow me end there and welcome the chair to give remarks, and then we will have the CS. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary General.
There's swap. But I'm a permanent.
Once again, thank you very much, the Secretary General, members of the press, members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Once again, I'm Solomon, the chairman of this steering committee. I want to speak on behalf of the whole committee and state as follows. On behalf of the National Student Budget Forum Steering Committee, I wish to formally convey our collective consent and commitment regarding the National Student Budget Forum framework and its forthcoming regional rollout. As outlined in the launch report, the steering committee endorses the report and its recommendations, which are the product of extensive consultation, coordination, and feedback from universities and TVET institutions across the country. The document reflects the shared priorities of the students, key national issues including education, financing, employment, cost of living, taxation, and inclusive economic participation. We confirm our readiness to operationalize the next phase of the National Student Budget Forum through structured regional forums aligned to the national budget cycle and the medium-term expenditure framework. The engagement will be conducted on strictly non-partisan basis in close collaboration with the relevant government institution, particularly the National Treasury and the Ministry of Interior, to ensure safety and order and inclusivity. As the steering committee, we give our full consent for the use of this report as the guiding framework for stakeholder engagement, media reference, and international government coordination through the regional rollout. We also reaffirm our commitment to transparency, accountability, and constructive dialogue as we work to institutionalize meaningful student participation in Kenya's public finance processes. We look forward to working with the media as partners in amplifying youth voices and ensuring accurate public confirmation as the important national initiative progresses. Thank you very much.
Maybe you can move a little bit.
Yes.
Hii ni yako ama ni yao? So, one thing that I would like to appreciate about what these students have been able to do is the fact that they are ready to also learn. This is also like a mentorship program, because by involving these students in budget making process, they will get to interact much more with not just our budget, but our fiscal space in general. So this student will be able to even appreciate our level of indebtedness, the challenges that we face in our budget process, revenue collection, expenditure, deficit, how to deal with it, where we are. We want to see more and more young people getting to understand and appreciate our budget more. That is when we will make a difference as a nation, by breaking from the past. You can't break from the past when majority of your population don't understand where you are and what challenges you face. It is better and easier for this young generation to be involved because the majority of the people we speak to and speak with belong to their generation. They can communicate with them better. They can make them understand and appreciate what is going on better. I would prefer this engagement more than anything else. But that does not take away the democratic rights that our citizens have of even demonstrating when things don't work. But in my view, that should be the last resort. We need first to exhaust all the avenues, all the tools that we have within our disposal. And one of them is what our Constitution says. Engage, talk, discuss, prioritize. Then if everything fails or collapses, then now you can resort to other methods to be understood, because really it is our right to be understood as citizens. And it is the responsibility of the government to understand the people they govern. So I will not shy away from engaging with the young people. And my ministry here will always be responsive. I will guarantee you that the report that we are going to receive, the suggestions and recommendations in the report will find their way into our budget. And here with me is Mr. Kiiru. Mr. Kiiru is actually from the budget department. So he's come to sit in and also to receive this report from me so that action is taken. So I will get clear action plan from the budget office. I would like, when I meet the students and when they see me, is when they tutor me. All right? Not, you know, like last time, those of us who were in the public space last year, tulisalimiwa sana. But it was the salamu that you not want to receive. You know, many times we are always waiting for greetings, to be greeted. And you hear that someone has sent words of greetings to you, you get very excited. So, but this time it wasn't the case. In fact, even when I was taking up this appointment, I wish I shared with you the kind of messages I was receiving, maybe from some of you. But I want that, we want to reverse that, especially from my point, where I want us to reverse that and have a system where we all understand and believe and trust in each other. Because the trust deficit in this country is worrying. To the extent where people don't even believe that Rironi Mau Summit Road will be done. You know, even after I'm told more media houses are coming in. Let's allow them. I may not repeat everything that I've said because it would be unfair to those of us who are here before, but at least those who are walking in will be able to get something still. I will make sure they get something. And most of them are my friends, so I don't know how to. Hata hii boardroom kidogo, eh? I didn't know we would have this kind of attendance. Probably would have looked for some place which is a little bit more spacious. But let's do with what we have. Can I give you one more minute or two?
Yes.
A minute or two to just settle.
The ones who are seated, if you could please move so that the cameras can find space. Thank you. We all stand at the side.
See, yeah, we can even move as we are the same people. I mean, tusiogopani. Yeah. Tusonge. Wow, this is big, eh? Even me, I will get your contacts. Eh? But this Kiru also would want to remain with your contacts. So
I can write and then give you. Can write them down.
you can write them down and you give me. Then you give Kiru. So. My 1 minute is over. Well, I wanted us to finish first. Then we take questions. I think you have settled in. Are you okay? I can only give 30 seconds. Yes. I will just give some summary. Yeah. Aha. Now I think I can resume. Oh, it will never end at this rate. This is K24. Are you ready? Who is the other one? Royal Media? I saw you walking. Where is the Royal Media? Are you ready? I also saw KTN. KTN? Where is KTN? Are you ready? Bado kamba iko kwa nini? Wapi, which other one came late? KBC? KBC? Walitangulia, walikuja mapema. That's mama na baba, lazima wakuja. Wapi Inoro? Kuna Inoro? Na Ramogi? Hiyo ni Royal Media yote. Okay. Kuna ingine inaitwa Fagilia. Kumbe is a liberalization mzuri, eh? I have never heard of Fagilia. Mnafagilia nini? Wote. Msitufagilie mpaka mbaki peke yenu. Okay. I think I've been accommodative enough. Yo, KTN, shida yako ni nini? No.
There's no way.
No, there is a way.
Ama tujalipa bill.
Once you are spotted by the CS,
KTN, you should tell me hatujawalipa. Pending bill.
This one.
Okay, thank you. Now, so let me, I will, as I said, it may be difficult for me to repeat everything that we have done because it would also be unfair to those of us who were here earlier. But I wanted just to mention that on 10th of December, I launched National Students Budget Forum 2026-2027 on budget and medium-term expenditure framework. The reason for this is to leave the Constitution. Our Constitution talks about public participation, talks about inclusivity. But although there is no legal framework or law governing public participation, but I think naturally there is one public participation that would pass the test. I mean, if you just go to Uhuru Park one day and you read the budget books and then you say you have done public participation, I don't think that would be fair. So there should be a threshold. And last year, at least the first budget that I handled, you saw some shifts, maybe not paradigm shift completely, but some shift where we did more public participation in areas that were never expected. Like the engagement we had at Jivanji, the engagement we have in Kibera, the one we had in Mombasa, among others, plus even engaging with the media. But this time round, we want to take it even a little higher to some other step, to go to embed more inclusivity in the budget process in terms of public participation, where we target the majority of our population. The majority of our population are the youth. From there is nobody with a zero age. From maybe 1 day to 35 years. But I'm told that 18 to 35 in our population constitutes over 60%. Therefore, that is a critical segment of our population that we cannot ignore, or a population that we need to engage with more than better. And that is why we started National Students Budget Forum. Why students? We also recognized that within that population, the critical mass are still students, people we can engage with formally to input and inform our budget are the youth. So we launched this forum, we launched this engagement, and the students themselves have been discussing. And so today, they are presenting a report to us. The leadership chair and the secretary general had actually given us the highlights. We are not going to ask them again to repeat the same. But the formal report will be handed over to me at the end of this engagement, press engagement. But you will be asked or required to ask questions before we finally receive the report. I just wanted to highlight that whatever we are going to discuss, whatever will come out of the report, will form part of our budget in terms of estimates and in terms of revenue-raising measures for the financial year 26-27. Also, we have 8 regions in this country, including Nairobi. We have already done engagement in Nairobi with students. Alongside other student leaders to the other 7, beginning with the Western Kenya region. I want it to be clear. I did engagement at the coast, but that was not targeting just students. It was targeting Kenyans as a whole. This time we'll start from the west, and we will visit the other 7 regions of engage with the students. That does not mean we are going to exclude other Kenyans. We will also be engaging with other Kenyans through other forums, including Bunge la Wananchi, because that is a more of an engaging people at the grassroots. Again, you are also open to present. Kenyans still have another avenue of presenting their views to us through written memoranda. we will still at the budget. So I wanted just to highlight that, and then now, where we have reached, I don't think I want to speak any. I just want to encourage the young people to try as much as possible to fast before reacting, soak information, get information. Last year, I had some engagement at times were not very friendly with participants, majority of whom were young. And I had a feeling that some of us are not taking time to understand, even get the information, or even read. And then you find you are engaging on propaganda, which is not very good in a matter as important as budget process. Let us reason, speak from points of information, from positions of information, by digging deep to understand. If there is a finance bill out there, please kindly read it. Instead of going to TikTok all the time and getting a lot of, and people who even tell you they have understood and analyzed the budget don't even understand the budget in the first place. And you want to rely on them. Content creators, yeah? People who are clearly, you know, the political stand of this person is this negative. And that is the person you want to listen to. Yeah? Today I was reading opinions about the Rironi Mao Summit. Allow me to digress a bit. And it is really interesting when someone is saying that road cannot be done because it has not been taken to Parliament for approval. What a shame. How do you take a PPP project to Parliament for approval and you have already contracted, followed the process of contracting? This is not something that is being funded from the budget. So where does Parliament come in to approve? There is no connection at all. Yeah? So let us, some of these things, before we even comment, let us understand them. I just want to plead with Kenyans that let us, even if you hate the government, it is okay. I mean, that's your democratic right. Yeah, you don't have to, not all of us can love one side of the political divide. It is impractical. I mean, we would be foolish if all of us support one political side. We'd all be, in fact, I would wonder what a country we would be living in. In fact, if you see elections in other countries, and someone gets 90%, you'd wonder if it is authentic, that is the outcome of the vote. I would say that country needs to think again. You cannot have a situation where 90% agrees with one side. So we are perfectly in order to disagree, 50-50, 60-40, whatever percentage, but allow ourselves to reason, and reason with facts. That is what I would plead for. So without digressing, because, you know, when you give a politician platform to speak, I may end up talking things that are not relevant for today's. And I'm the one who had actually asked that, if possible, let us stay with today's agenda. Because I know there are so many things out there, but let us stick with today's agenda. I can see you came here in large numbers. I was wondering why. Maybe you thought I was going to resign. I just want to give you confidence that I am not about to resign. I am still here, and I still enjoy my work. So we are not going to discuss my resignation or anything like that. So can I now, I want to open it up, especially for those of us who have been here, but even those who have come late. You will introduce yourself and the media house, and then you ask the question, or two questions maximum, and be brief, to the point, so that we can have as many people as possible. But again, if 6 of you ask questions, really, will there be anything left? So, where do we start from? And make sure you incorporate, you integrate gender. Pardon? Okay, for yes.
I'll be very brief, but allow me to touch on macro. So, the KPCA, do you maintain the transaction date of March 31st, 2026 for that listing? And then as a majority shareholder of KQ, what's the plan, the strategic investors in years minority? Then your direction on interest rates for 2026. Thank you. Tawanda Lady.
My name is Sophia Ali from KTN. Just a clarification on the state of the infrastructure fund.
State of the National Infrastructure Fund. Uh-huh.
This side? Okay.
This side, I'm gonna swali.
Okay,
Now,
Waziri Granted General from NTV. Two questions, because you said this is some form of internship, so was there like a selection from the maybe School of Economics or something like that? I don't know the constitution of the student leaders, so I would like to get clarity on that, because that would be directly in line with the Treasury mandate. Lastly, I'd love for the student leaders to also give us a bit of highlights. It's a bit too general to say taxation and unemployment, etc., but we'd like also to understand nuances around. I believe you student leaders, I was in your position about 6 years ago back in Moi, and some of the
how many years ago?
6 years ago.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
And some of the things that would be of concern is things to do with capitation, things to do with allocation of funds to higher education and learning. Are those some of the things we should be expecting in your report? So those are some of the things that will make news for us today. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, I'm looking around. David.
Bloomberg.
Yeah, David Hamlin from Bloomberg. Two questions. The road bond, 175 billion, I said that we can.
Second last.
Chris Wino from Movie TV from Media Flash. I've got two questions. The first one is about the Singapore dream. When the president was addressing the National Assembly and the Senate, he gave a time frame of around 10 years, but these time frames have been changing every now and then. So I just want the CS to give us the specific time frame for the Singapore dream. Is it 10 years? Is it 30 years? What is the specific time frame? Again, tied to that is about the pillars. Initially, the president said that the Singapore dream is premised on 4 key pillars. But when he was addressing the nation during the Jamhuri Day, he introduced it, he said it's now 3 pillars. So what are the pillars that the Singapore dream is pegged on? Are they 3 or 4? And which one are they?
Thank you. The last one, lady for the last question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think they're okay.
So this we can.
Traditionally, invitation performance and tax proposals has been done between mid-November to early December. Why in the festive season this time?
Okay. So let me start with KEFA. KEFA, you've asked about KPC. We are still pretty working with the timelines that we had earlier given on KPC privatization. But we are also alive to the fact that there are processes that need to be followed, and those processes have to be completed and completed satisfactorily. So we are not going to rush anything, but the timeline of March is still very much the timeline that we are working with. Actually, we want this privatization process to move as fast as possible so that we get this process to help us set up the fund, the National Infrastructure Fund. Because the National Infrastructure Fund will be funded or capitalized with the initial seed capital from the privatization proceeds and the divestiture. One of the candidates for privatization that we have identified is KPC. And we have explained the reasons why it was a candidate for privatization. One is it was already a limited liability company. It is a mature asset as far as our assessment is concerned. It's a profit-making parastatal, and one that clearly has all the advantages of reaching the point where it can be taken even to Nairobi Securities Exchange, and together with the Safaricom divestiture. So this will be the first two state-owned enterprises, or rather state assets that will go through the divestiture and privatization to help us realize the seed money for capitalizing the National Infrastructure Fund. The others will come later and we'll explain. On KQ, I want to still reserve my comment because a lot of happenings are taking place there. And right now we are looking at the governance of KQ in general. So I don't want to preempt that discussion. On your question about the interest rates for 2026, I think the interest rates for 2026 will at the very least remain rather stable as it is today, but we expect even lower interest rates in 2026. One, informed by global happenings, because we are not as a country. If you look at what is happening even in the US economy, they are lowering the interest rates. But even locally, things are getting better within the midpoint average of 5%, below the midpoint. We have other fundamentals working. The forex reserves are fairly stable. The shilling is fairly stable, unless the weather patterns change drastically. So a lot of fundamental, the macros are relatively going to remain stable, and therefore the interest rates can that the 2026 will see more credit going to the private sector and expanding the economic activities and even creating more jobs. Sophia KTN, you actually questioned or asked us about the state of National Infrastructure Fund. First of all, it should be understood that this is a fund that is going to be anchored on the government framework within which we are going to operate. They are forgetting that there is a bill, there is a law that we've just passed, and that law is very robust. It's actually not just targeting this fund, the National Infrastructure Fund, but it is speaking to all commercially viable state-owned enterprises. There's commercially viable state-owned enterprises are going to have a complete shift, paradigm shift in terms of governance, and even in terms of constituting the board members. The way board membership of parastatals are being constituted today has drastically changed with the Government-Owned Enterprises Act, which is targeting only commercially viable government-owned enterprises. There are about 60 which you have targeted. And I'm already communicating to them, the governance structures of those institutions to change and change their articles of association to be in line with GOE Act. And then we are going to reconstitute the boards because the law now demands a more transparent, a more professional way of constituting those boards, unlike previously when chairs were just appointed and nominated and appointed, board membership were just appointed by cabinet secretaries, and that's it. Now this is going to be different. There are going to be interviews, there are going to be shortlisting, there's going to be a more transparent way of constituting the governance structure of this institution. So National Infrastructure Fund will also be a government-owned enterprise, commercially viable, professionally run, and so it is a limited liability company that we are going to form, and the process is on of constituting the company. So that is what I would say about National, unless you will have a follow-up question later. Student leadership from those institutions to congregate and bring themselves together to meet us. And among them are also students from schools of economics. But if we want to engage more also with School of Economics, or those who are from the business school, those who are from faculties of commerce and all the rest. So we will have that maybe standalone engagement. But among the student leadership, there are a number of them who have come from school of those who are taking economics. In fact, they're the ones who are most interested in this. Together with the lawyers, by the way, I've realized lawyers are also very, very interested in this process. And of course, their report that they will respond to, I will allow them once I'm done on what are the highlights, and maybe is it addressing capitation, help, etc. That one I would want them to be the ones responding to, because I have not read the report also. So you'll take note of that, Chairman. David, on the road bond, I may not, because it's being coordinated from the Ministry of Roads and my PDMO office, Public Debt Management Office, giving them guidance. But what I know is that the bridge financing is almost complete. It's like all the money has been raised even before. So the money that the bond is going to raise will just pay back the money that the various financial institutions gave. And this month we are clearing all the historical pending bills up to December 2024 in the road sector. There should be no contractor in this country asking for payment from government for any road works that were done before December 2024 by the end of this month. That's the understanding we have with the Ministry of Roads. It's a milestone for this government, because some of these bills are dating back to 2005. But we are saying by end of this year, we should not hear of any road contractor who did work with the national government who has not been paid up to 2024 December. So the bills that should be talked about is from January 2025 coming upwards. The China, whatever you call it, debt swap or whatever, David, you know, there is no difference in the interest paid. What is going to bring a difference is that the interest, if it was dollar denominated, it begins with the Fed rate as the baseline. Then you add a percentage. The percentages are going to remain the same, except that adjustment of the Fed rate. But I don't know why this information has not been made available. You keep on asking this question every time. This time, I will guarantee you, I'll ask my PDMO to give you that information, because it will appear like we don't want to give that information. And it is not a secret. I know it's a loan. The loan is now going to be paid for 11 years, with 4 years grace period. So 15 years full, if I may remember correctly, with a 4 years grace period. So that's 11 years repayments. A fantastic thing. I will tell you, next year, March, January, I think, we pay the loans in January, and I think for this project. We have been paying over 50 billion shillings. This year we are going to pay 37. Then the second one, 37. So there is that savings. 50 something to 37 for one installment and another installment. Total saving per year is 215 million US dollars. If you can convert that into Kenyan shilling, you know what we are talking about. So it is something that is positive. Chris, you have asked, what is this Singapore dream, where we are, time frame? You know, let me be clear about this dream. And it is not a dream. It is a commitment that we are going that direction. Why? We are starting a national infrastructure fund. And this national infrastructure fund is going to get the initial capitation from the proceeds of privatization and divestiture. We are targeting about 600 billion shillings. Already we have identified over 300 billion shillings from KPC and divestiture of Safaricom alone. That will give us close to 350 or at minimum 300 maybe and 20 billion shillings. Then we will have to look for other sourcing of the rest of the amount. But we are not waiting. The moment we get these resources, we start the process. The process of crowding in private sector. And I've heard people saying, we are creating a private entity. This is not a private entity. This is going to be a limited, not all limited liability companies are private companies. I saw one legislator, a senator, speaking, and he has no understanding. He doesn't even understand. He is saying that we are starting a private company. There is nothing. This company is going to be a limited liability company which is formed under GOE, government-owned enterprise. From the word, it is a government-owned enterprise. Only that it is going to be commercially run. Only that it is going to be professionally run. Not like any other parastatals that we form and we bring politicians. In fact, in that fund, the board, we are saying if you have been in politics for the last 5 years, you will not be a board member. So we want to depoliticize this board. But it is a GOE. Let that go out clearly. I'm even hearing, how do we put public funds into private? There is nothing private. We are not taking public funds. No, the law cannot even allow you to take public funds to a private entity. In fact, even the Sovereign Wealth Fund, we are creating a holding account at the Central Bank of Kenya. So these are government entities, professionally and commercially run, which are going to crowd in private sector. And some people are saying, if you allow private people to come and put money in the company, it is not how it works. Kindly, please, those who have not understood these things, hold your horses and listen to us first. This is not a fund where people are going to come in and invest money. There will be no provision. Kefa. Usifikiri ati sasa you are going to buy some shares in National Infrastructure Fund. That's not how it works. What is going to happen is that this fund will blend their resources with the private sector. Yeah, this road is supposed to be done. It will be designed. This fund will be a professional institution that has people to design even projects and tell you this is the costing, this is how we are going to make money out of it, and from this you can invest. And investors will say this is a worthwhile investment. So how much do you have? As National Infrastructure Fund, we want to put in 20%, which is say 200 million or 200 billion. Can you bring in 800 billion? Then you get people to bring in 800 billion. The National Infrastructure Fund brings 200 million. The project is done like Rironi Mau Summit is now being done between NSSF and the CRBC. So then you do it, and whatever resources come out of it, the resources that come out of it, in terms of returns, part of it will go to a National Infrastructure Fund, part of it goes to the private sector. The private sector does not become part of the National Infrastructure Fund. They are only in partnership. They are only blending capital to do the project. That is how it works in many jurisdictions. And how I wish before these people speak, they can even go and learn some of these experiences. And then they can now speak from a point of information. Some people imagine that the private sector is coming to invest in this institution. That is not how it works. And on the pillars is what the president talked about, and there is no contradiction. The pillars are the following. Number one is the road sector, which has been identified. Yeah? Investment in the road sector. And we have even talked about the number of kilometers that we intend to do. The second one is underwater and irrigation, mostly the dams. That is going to be done. The third one is energy, generation and transmission. That's an area that has also been identified as commercially viable sector of our economy. The last one is the transport sector, where we have the airport and the rest. So maybe the roads and transport sometimes get collapsed into one. So you think there are three. But the pillars, those are the four critical areas that we have targeted at the moment for heavy investment. Then the rest of the economy, the money that will be released from the infrastructure budget will go into providing these services which may not be commercially viable, like education, like water for domestic use, and like health and social protection. Those ones will still get the funding the normal way. And other non-viable projects like roads in the rural area. If you do a road passing in my village, it cannot pay for itself. There's no way you can pay. We make it commercially viable. So that's what I would say. On tax process, Otieno, I thought we had started communicating from November about people to bring tax proposals. It's not just starting now, but you have enough time. You can bring any tax proposal, any suggestions that you think we should incorporate in our finance bill for 2026. Let me now allow the student leadership. I don't know whether chairman will the one who will take this. You have been specifically asked to give highlights, maybe in a minute. What is standing out from your report in terms of your suggestion that you are putting across to the government? And maybe you talk about whether in your report you have spoken to capitation and health matters and such. Yes.
Very small follow-up question.
Yeah, on
In terms of spending bills paid towards the construction sector, particularly roads. We know the total spending bills, I think, as per early this year was about 600 billion. Are you able to quantify either numerical or from a share of that percentage? How much has been paid to the roads?
But Otieno, I've spoken about this before, that yes, the bills that were presented for verification was 65 billion.
Correct.
But only 200 and something, 230 something were found to be legitimate.
Correct.
Or rather have been verified and approved for payment. Out of that 235, about 80 to 85 billion relates to the road sector for construction. Others, about 150 something, which we are trying to work out how then can we also consider those pending bills, because we don't want to leave the other suppliers and vendors behind. Yes. So I think that answers your question. Settle the thing.
Before you hand over the button to...
I'm not handing over. I was just trying to indulge. I will not hand over until they hand over the report to me. But I'm indulging them. So unless you want to...
Yeah, just want the specifically exact time frame. That's what I want from your end. Exact time frame
For?
achieving this Singapore dream from third world to first world status.
How fast we will achieve this depends on our commitment as a country. The president has a vision, and he has spoken to it. The government has a vision, which the president has elaborated, about 10 years. But you see, achieving first world status, you can do it faster than even 10 years, depending on how you are committed. But if you are not so committed again, it will take us a while. So what we must demonstrate now is to believe in government first. I know that believability has gone down. I don't know why. A lot of politics around. Even things that have worked, no one wants to accept they have worked. And if it has worked, then you keep quiet. If it has not worked, you shout, which is okay. But what I'm saying is, if we remain committed and we stay to the course, and we allow this National Infrastructure Fund to be set, we avoid unnecessary litigation and unnecessary politics and saying things that we probably don't understand, where someone wakes up from his house and starts saying the prices of Safaricom should be 75. Another one talks about it was 45, yeah? Without elaborating to you what made it to be 45. You know, capital markets, the way they operate, I don't know whether these people really understand how capital markets operate. Those of us who have studied capital markets, how they operate, we know that always the prices are dictated by signals. Like, for example, if today I was having business somewhere and you strike some gold, the prices of shares in that area will just go up because there is anticipation. So that is exactly what happened to Safaricom in 2021 when there was the announcement that we were expanding to Ethiopia. So the prices went up. When the market didn't respond as investors thought, the prices came down. That is how capital markets respond and react. And you get a politician who does not even take his time to engage his brain properly. in how capital markets work. Then it was 45 shillings in 20. So why is it 28 today? He's not explaining to you that, because his mind is stuck like a gramophone in some kind of political discourse that doesn't really help much. But I know some of them will start saying Mbadi is arrogant. But sometimes you get tired of explaining to people who should be understanding. If you claim to have studied economics, then you should reason better. I have no problem. I can explain to other Kenyans 1,000 times to understand. But someone who claims to be understanding, please give me a break. I cannot be spending all my time responding to your ignorance. It is sickening. So I would respond to other Kenyans who don't understand, but not someone who has studied economics, studied finance, studied statistics. You should understand some of these basic concepts. Anyway, let me not digress again, because I said I may find myself digressing. I am here explaining that the time frame for us to achieve this dream, it is about our commitment as a country. Let us for once believe that in ourselves. You put up positions and you want us to do things differently. And when we try to do things differently, then you want to remain at the same point. Because if someone is telling you, don't start in National Infrastructure Fund, how else do you want us to do our roads that is causing us problems? The road to Namanga is not the one that we should have. And Tanzania is a major and a very important market for us, both in terms of supporting our economy with their raw materials and the rest, and as also exporting to them. The same with Uganda. Look at how it is difficult to get to Uganda border. Look at how now Thika Road is a mess. A road that we thought was a blessing for us a few years ago. We cannot leave these roads the way they are. Energy, we are only generating about 3,300 megawatts. We need 10,000 megawatts for this economy to grow. You cannot do it on budget. We don't have that money. You know, someone asked us, where did we take the money we borrowed in the last 3 years? It is it's just a year since he left being chair of the budget committee. Can he explain where he took the money? And honestly, pensioners should get their pensions promptly. We delayed with those who retired last year before the passage of the Tax Laws Amendment Act of December 2024, because there was different interpretation between us here, the Treasury, and KRA, which I think has been resolved. So now they should be getting pension seamlessly. And by the way, we closed the year without pension claims pending. So we should make sure, we'll make sure that pensions are paid promptly. But I don't think there must be a problem with that payment. So get it to us, we check with the pensions department and see why that person has not been paid. But PSSF is hardly 3 years. I think it's 3 years in existence. Okay? Sawa. So can we get a response from the students? Then I can summarize and conclude, and then I get this report.
Okay, thank you very much, CS. And may I respond to my senior comrade Otieno? He has said that what is the student leaders framework and highlights, deep highlights in this report. I want to tell my senior comrade Otieno that a dance that is lost at the waist cannot be corrected at the feet. So that's why we came to the Treasury, and as students who are youths and who have the largest population in this country, and we say that we cannot go back to what happened in the Finance Bill 2024. We cannot go back to what happened even after CS took office, where a lot of youths were still peddling misinformations. So it was prudent enough for us youths to stand and have a leading faction who can reach the CS which we are given by our students back at school, so that we can talk with other comrades in all regions and talk about one of our things that we want to talk about is in this report that is mainly considered here is a student to understand the fiscal communication, because there is a lot of misinformation going on in TikTok, Twitter, and everywhere. So can we go to the ground and tell those youths what necessarily is there in the budget and what is their input to add in the budget coming 2026, 2027 planning. Also on matters education, we are tending, and our main agenda in this report is how can we involve stakeholders. We know that students, matters in education is something that really affects us. How there is delayed capitation, delayed help, that is the only thing that we can discuss with the CS and the Treasury team on how can all these delays be considered on time so that students can be in school. We don't witness something that like happened previously, that our lecturers are on the streets. Those are things that we want to address. And also addressing this, we also want to address the issue of paid internships. Because youths, we are transitioning into the world. How are we going to transition if we are not taken care of right now? Because we remember two previous government, the Vision 2030 and the 6 points agenda, and now we have the bottom-up economy. So how can the youths get internship? We have the JSS for the education for the teachers. How can we create more field in this budget for these JSS, for the teachers to be specific, and even add them more salaries if it is there? And also, how can they transition into not becoming interns to permanent and pensionable civil servants of the government? So these are things that we can only discuss if we are on the table. We cannot discuss them in Mbadi Street and those are the Tom Boyer Street with the placards and everything. These are only things that we can discuss if we sit close to the CS like this, and then we tell him specifically what is on the ground. And I really want to appreciate CS for coming on board to listen to young youths who are sharp. We have lawyers here who will look into this budget. How is it legitimate? Does it fit within the constitution? We have students of economics in this platform who will look onto a way of how can we create more forums of business, income, and so forth. And even teachers are here on board. We have all the professions incorporated in this National Student Budget Forum Committee, and as we traverse all those regions, we will really also welcome you to come and air what we will be telling the youth, because that is the first-hand information. What they will be meeting on TikTok and Twitter is not the first-hand information. So if you come on board, we will really appreciate, and I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we are...
As the CS is digressing these questions, allow me to say something. From what the chair said, without fear of contradiction, on behalf of the youth of this country, that going forward, the youth in Kenya will charter ways with leaders who initiate policies, leaders who create such forums in implementation of Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya. We are not going to conform with leaders who stand on top of vehicles to shout slogans. We want to charter our ways with leaders who initiate policies. Thank you.
Okay, now I know one of us has asked us another some question in writing, but our borrowing plan for 2025-26 remains on course. We are not worried at all, because you have asked me about IMF, World Bank. For your information, we did not factor in any money, any proceeds from IMF for 25-26, zero at all. If it comes, it will come as a windfall. By the way, IMF's responsibility is not to give people loan. The primary of IMF is to stabilize economies. If you have shocks, we should avoid taking loans from IMF, because economies which are growing and are doing better should not go to IMF for loans. They should only have IMF to help them in a kind of review, peer review, and checking whether debt sustainability is working and all other fundamentals, and we are doing that with IMF. Loan should be the last resort for IMF. IMF only comes in when you have shocks or an economy is struggling. Our economy is not that struggling. For your information, the Kenyan economy is no longer struggling. We are out of that space completely. We can only mess ourselves again back there. But we are out of the space where we could have been considered as a struggling economy. So IMF is not our first call as a creditor. But World Bank, yes, we still expect about 750 million US dollars from them for DPO 7. And we are almost concluding our discussions around the conditions to be met and all that. And the World Bank was talking about March. We are telling them that we may need the money earlier. So we are trying to fast track so that we get that funding earlier. But there is no cause of alarm. Kenya's economy is a strong economy. We will be able to raise enough resources to do all our projects and implement the budget of 2025-26. We are only working with KRA so that they don't fall back on revenue collection targets. We want KRA to meet the revenue collection target. This morning, I had a meeting here where we are with KRA on some of the reforms we are taking to ensure that those who should be paying tax, pay tax without militarizing KRA. So those of you here who are not paying taxes, and you know yourself, please pay. Anyone who has rental income, pay. Because rental income, you have not been paying. So we are asking you, we are devising systems first to allow you to come forward, declare and pay. And also we are also thinking of how then do we make sure that we track those who are supposed to pay tax. But we are not going to militarize tax collection. We'll just tell you, you need to pay this tax, and you come forward and pay it. Tax payment should be an obligation. It should be a responsibility. You just pay. Then you leave us with the responsibility of making sure that we use your taxes efficiently. I want to end there. I know you people, we have said so much, and you will want to cover so many of these things. I know you will go for the sensational ones like the ones I said about putting cabros in their villages. And I know you will also report on these people about the Safaricom shares was 45 in 2021, that some people don't want to think and all that. As you put that, remember also to highlight the theme of today's engagement, which was that we are opening space in terms of public engagement and public participation, inclusivity in matters budget and matters finance, and we are now roping in the students across the country. We are going to engage in all the 8 regions with the students to get input from our young generation. Please, however difficult it is, just get some space for us for that. I plead with you. To cover those others, you also have the space for why we invited you here. Otherwise, next time, I will think twice before I invite you. But anyway, I know you people have also given us good coverage before. I want to just thank you for that. Report objectively. Give us the coverage, questions we are ready to respond to. I don't think I've been very mean with information. I've been trying as much as possible to be transparent. Sawa sawa? Yes. Thank you very much. So now we are moving to the next step or next stage, which is the presentation of the report. Then so this is the report which I'm going to read. You will give us copies also. I give my budget team. Thank you. Thank you very much. So you can give, yeah.
There is a form.
Oh. Thank you. So you can take one copy. What is this?
We can hold our reports.
Now, Quinta, tell us what to do.
One.
Oh. Now finish two. Wake up. Umekata?
Chini.
We'll pop it up in the next. Hii imekata kwa nini?
Investor.
Oh, you popped it ikaisha. Whoever the supplier was, tell him there was no value for money. Hii imekata.
Imekata.
Hiyo imekata. We will go for more training on how to break. So what next? Was there a photo or something?
Yes.
Ama, we've done it. Huh? Oh, we've taken the photo. Thank you. So otherwise, thank you very much. Oh, I should have wished you Merry Christmas and possibly a Happy New Year. Yeah, because I don't think we'll meet again before the New Year. I'm going for holiday. I've been waiting for it. I am sure you guys are also going for holiday. What do you mean by holiday? You think holiday is only going out of the country? Yeah? It's more enjoyable to just go to the village, eh? Sasa.
More radio, 88.2 FM. We are in charge.